recent, which is the most important. Now, the headlines. I'm here with Benard, who has been here before. I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. But this is what the headlines are saying. The Standard: hustlers miss out on Ruto's 30-day boon. Hustlers miss out on Ruto's 30-day boon. Whereas friends and loyal politicians have been rewarded by appointments from the legislature to the executive, 30 days down the line, Mwananchi is still experiencing tough times. Drought is ravaging the country, fuel prices are at an all-time high, and the cost of living is also at an all-time high for the past 63 months, the highest jump in inflation since around 20, if I do my math correct, 63 months will take us back to how many years ago? 5, yeah? So that's around 2017. Daily Nation: pay cuts loom in Ruto's budget plan. So some of those non-salary benefits, including entertainment and travel allowances and various non-essential expenditures, according to the Kenya Kwanza government, the Treasury is going to move to effect President Ruto's directive, and this is expected to begin today morning to bring around, or to save around 300 billion Kenyan shillings, according to his inauguration speech. President William Ruto pointed that if we save 300 billion from this year's budget, we'll be on a right trajectory to returning the country back to the economic state as it was before the inflation hit us. Business Daily: the Nairobi Securities Exchange is pushing for law changes to scrap the chairman and the CEO's term limits, and for this is going to allow the current boss, Geoffrey Odundo, to be leading NSE beyond March of next year. So we're going to have a look at those 3 headlines, but also the main stories that are hitting inside there, going in depth, and of course getting opinions from Benard, who's just right here with me. So maybe welcome back, and also tell us how you've been on this camera. How are things?
Thank you so much, Richard. I am Benard Odhiambo. I'm a business and governance expert. I've been well. You know, we are from the seasons of politics, but now we are back. The country has to move on.
Yeah.
We have to get back to our businesses. We have to grow our economy together. And so we are here to collaborate to ensure that we realize the same.
Right. What are the maybe 3 lessons, 2 or 3 lessons you can say we learned, or you learned as a person, that you can learn from in this past election period?
Number 1, I learned that always be a strategic thinker. You need to see beyond 2022. Number 2, as a businessman, I learned that it was essential that we set long-term goals that could survive even at a time of economic recession. And I also believe that having looked at what is currently happening in our country, whereby the economy is struggling, we had maybe I can say weird expectations, but that is not what we really have in the hustlers government. So I believe that going forward, it's tough time for Kenyans. We have to hold on and I mean move forward together to ensure that we all achieve it.
Right.
Let nobody sit down there waiting for hustler to bring a plate of meal at your doorstep.
Right.
It might not be there.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So those are very important lessons for us to learn. Think beyond 2022. And I think I was also trying to drum that during the shows that led up to the election, that of course we have to look beyond the election period. And we can see that it's already happening. If we just have a look at the Standard, hustlers, as you've said, you can't wait for the hustler or the hustler in chief, His Excellency President Dr. William Ruto, to bring your plate to your doorstep. However, we still are questioning: can we be a bit realistic, maybe, as according to how the government wants us, or according to the Kenya Kwanza government wants us to be a bit realistic in how we are putting our expectations on the promises which they gave. We're getting into the details, but I wanted to know what you think about the headlines this morning. For example, the Standard: hustlers are missing out on Ruto's 30-day boom. I probably, in my opinion, the Standard got the headlines correct this morning.
Yeah, I equally loved the headlines for the Standard newspaper. Hustlers miss out on Ruto's 30-day boom. You know, it was an extension, an expectation of many Kenyans that we'll have many hustlers in the cabinet secretary positions, senior government positions, parastatals, and all that. But what we have actually seen is not what we actually anticipated.
Right.
And in line with the same, I would wish to remind Kenyans that what politicians use is just a creation of theory and poem to lure you so that you can be able to give them an opportunity to serve them. And once they get into office, it is up to them to redesign and create that hope and vision towards what they want to achieve.
Right.
But in line with our constitution's manifesto is a guiding principle towards what any head of state is supposed to go by. We are not going to back down. And I believe that the hustlers or the common wananchi, as it was stated in our campaigns, their issues must be well taken care of. We are still waiting for the Hustlers Fund so that we can be able to support ourselves. We are still waiting for money to support the small-scale businesses. We are still waiting to see Mama Mboga and especially reduction of tax on small-scale businesses, affordable fertilizer, and many issues.
Many other promises that were there in the
head of state
manifesto
has actually fell short of the many things.
But some will say, as of course is the editorial piece here in the Standard, if you can still also get into it. On page 12, a question being asked there by one Dennis Kabara of the Standard is saying that we should be realistic. That's the title. We should be realistic about Kenya Kwanza's first 100 days. It's clear that some things cannot be done in 100 days outside of policy, legal and regulatory change. And if these things can be done, the question is whether these things need to be done at this time. And we've seen several occasions where the deputy president, that is Rigathi Gachagua, going into public saying that they need more time. They came in, the first thing he said was that the coffers were empty at the treasury. So they need more time to find a way in which they can turn around the situation. DP Ruto also, President, His Excellency, President William Ruto, I think I got used to calling him DP Ruto before. He is also proposing, of course, that slash in expenditure to save up to 300 billion every single year. And maybe, Benard, if I can look at some of those pledges and some of the things that he has been able to do in the first in the first month into office, actually on page 4 of the Standard is where that is detailed. Kenyans feel on one side that common mwananchi has been left for low-hanging fruit, stuff like fuliza could reduce to 40%, affordable fertilizer here and there. However, key issues such as the cost of common household items hasn't been touched on. But if you look on the other side, political friends like Musalia Mudavadi, Wetangula, a 42-member committee to review CBC. We're also seeing that there are currently there's a shortlisting of candidates for principal secretary positions. We also did see an appointment, of course, of several of people who are going to be filling those 22 cabinet slots. However, only 7 women have been nominated there, which means that President Ruto has not met his promise of ensuring that the cabinet is going to have a 50% representation of women. Can we maybe, wanasema kwa Kiswahili, mgala muue na haki umpe. It's only been one month in. Yes. Could we say, even maybe looking at a few of those so-called low-hanging fruits that he's been able to deliver, can we say maybe he's making progress, even also maybe considering the promises he's making as he makes his tour around the East African community?
Richard, before I get into that, I think it is important to note that the agenda behind why we have the Hustlers presidency today is because we had somebody who believed he was a son of nobody, and so it was creating an opportunity for Kenyans who have questionable backgrounds, their families are not known, to get into positions. And even with, when the president was, even his inaugural speech, when he was sworn in, at that time when elections were announced and all that, we had a president who was very happy that is a son of a nobody, and so is a president. So there's a lot of celebratory mood in State House that you see, I have made it, I was not known.
They're still in the euphoria.
And we are also forgetting that other than that which led to many people thinking towards the same direction, we have many challenges as Kenyans. Of course, there are good things that the president has done. Personally, as a partner or as an expert in the tourism industry, where my business for tours and travel is based, I was very happy when the president met Suluhu Hassan. I think that story is captured in the subsequent pages, whereby he was talking about the issues of, the trade barriers, removing the trade barriers. We no longer be having visa, and then the issue of gas and all that. So there are many things that the president has at least attempted towards making sure that the country run. But with respect to we, or hustlers means everybody,
right?
In the current regime, I believe that Kenyans are really suffering. If you look at the cost of living, we were talking about going to a kiosk and getting maize at 70 shillings or getting unga at 70 shillings. Richie, if you drive, the cost of fuel has
also gone up, all-time high.
And the subsidies has been removed. So as much as we are trying to, remove the unnecessary expenditures, we are also not offering solutions to ensure that we are not making life very hard for Kenyans. So at some point, the president has at least tried to do something, of which 70% of what the president has done is just to show us that if I was his friend, he can nominate me to cabinet. If I campaign for him, I can...
You're going to get a reward.
Yeah, and then Rigiji, who is the deputy president also, is very happy because policemen will no longer go to his home to arrest him.
They're the same ones who are escorting him, according to his statement, saying the same police officers who are harassing him are now escorting him to work.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe I think they need to snap out of that euphoria, as much as we are also saying that Mgala Muwe na Haki Umpe, the first 100 days are still on count. We are on record for 100 days into the future. So making sure that in the first 30 days, the few things is done. We're also having a look at some of those things that he is yet to do according to his promises. Small businesses has already been mentioned. There's their health, public awaits to the promise to employ at an initial 20,000 healthcare workers, and we know the kind of situation we have in the country in matters of healthcare. Persons living with disabilities are also awaiting the president. Education system in the country, of course, as we said, 42-member team, which is led by educationists who are going to have a look at the implementation of the CBC, the competency-based curriculum, and also sports. As a lover of sports in the country, we need to go back to international football, but also local Premier League. I also always try to attend some of these local matches, but the new league has been postponed way too many times. So maybe waiting to see what his cabinet appointees can also pick up and accelerate the pace for this government. What I feel though, Benard, is unajua zile promises ambazo maybe a husband makes to the wife before marriage. Tukishaoana hivi, the first 100 days, I'll take you to holiday, I'll buy you this, I'll get us a house and this. And then after the vows have been done, unajua tuli spend sana kwa wedding, give me some time. Things like those.
Yes.
So your honeymoon, I think Rigiji and His Excellency President William Ruto should make sure they are snapping out of that kind of honeymoon, right? Yes, so that's what you get on the Standard, page 4, and also that editorial piece that is there on page 14 or page 12. We should be realistic about Kenya Kwanza's first 100 days. Get a look at that and also do weigh in, of course, after you've read Dennis Kabara's thoughts. Huduma or Utamaduni, which holiday is October 10th? As someone who's in the tourism industry, did you get confusion? Watu ambao walikuwa wanakuja for leisure activities Huduma Day.
This holiday, initially it was Moi Day.
Yeah.
and then there was a gazette notice by the former Minister for Interior making it Huduma Day.
Right.
And then now we had Utamaduni Day.
And we did see the First Lady. I'm just going to put that out, that the First Lady, Rachel Ruto, did go to social media and posted a happy Huduma Day. So it looks like the confusion is not just on common Mwananchi. Even at State House, we're having the same problem. We are not reading gazette notices, or what's happening?
There was a huge confusion around that, and I believe that it was not very clear. If you ask me, as somebody in the tourism sector, for us, we were focused on Utamaduni Day.
Yeah.
We were focused on appreciating our cultures, our diversity, the wildlife, and all that. To an extent that, as a person, I could not be able to realize. I was even asking myself, now you see it's Utamaduni Day, but then it was Huduma Day, because I remember when Huduma centers were enacted and there was an issue about making it a national holiday. So there were that confusion.
But it is Utamaduni Day.
It is Utamaduni Day. That is the right one.
October 10th.
October 10th.
We also do have October 20th, which is coming up. I hope there's not much confusion as well on what kind of holiday that is. Here in the Standard, Benard, there's someone who was asked, a hawker at Green Park, Nairobi, saying that there was no need of renaming the holiday if it's still the same day and it's a holiday. We were used to Moi Day as a public holiday. His name ought to have been maintained in remembrance of the second president, Daniel Arap Moi. Do you think we should have stuck to always remembering Moi's tenure?
I think, Richard, if I refresh your memory, it was actually President Moi who suggested that he was no longer comfortable having it as Moi Day.
Right, because he has his own birthday, I'm guessing, as well.
So a lot of holidays for Moi were celebrated, and it was Moi who suggested that kind of, the name Moi is scrapped off, and the government to give it anything. And I think that's why they are still finding it hard, trying to get which one should it be. Because during Moi Day we used to celebrate the Nyayo era, but now that was done,
right?
And the former president was not comfortable,
right?
And that is why it was supposed to have been changed.
Right. We have now Huduma Day, which is supposed to celebrate the rich cultural diversity of Kenya in a manner that brings national cohesion, unity, and also economic progress. Maybe, Benard, to brush over that, what are some of the things you can, someone who's been around the country, of course, umetembea Kenya, and you've been here for quite some time, I am assuming.
Yes, yes.
What are some of the things you can say you celebrate as a Kenyan on that Utamaduni Day, some of those cultural items or some of those cultural milestones and diversity of Kenya that you celebrate as a person, as we now take a look at other stories on the Standard?
Okay, as a person and maybe as a family of Franways Tours and Travel, we were celebrating the milestone that the Ministry of Tourism has taken towards improving, number one, on our wildlife, because we understand that we've had issues of certain species getting extinct, the issues of poaching, the issues of making sure that our game parks and the national museums meet the standards. Number two, it was an opportunity for marketing the Kenyan heritage, the African heritage, that is our different cultures. Because if you go to the coast, you have the Swahili, the Giriama, the Maasais here along Narok and Kajiado. So we were celebrating our heritage, we were celebrating our wildlife, and we are also celebrating tourism sector beyond COVID-19, because it was only the first time that we even had the Magical Sites Kenya Trade and Exhibition Expo that was between 5th and 7th of October at Bomas of Kenya. So it was an opportunity for us to realize ourselves as a country, because, you know, Richard, even you as a person, you have got something to celebrate. You have your own culture.